here on the Cover 3 podcast. Tom, I'm so glad you were watching CBS Sports HQ. Really appreciate your viewership there. It was a great day on the network, and we did get Bryce Betcher to come and join us live. And you mentioned that before the game had even kicked off between Indiana and Alabama, he wanted to get his get back, and now they're going to get a chance in the Peach Bowl in Atlanta, Oregon and Indiana. What are going to be the keys to the rematch? Yet another rematch here in this college football playoff. We've had one every round, so we got to have at least another.
I mean, if Oregon's not able to run the ball in that game, the same way they weren't able to run the ball against Texas Tech, it's going to be problems. I mean, I think that is the one thing that and nobody's really done it to this point. If you can't run the ball against Indiana, you're probably not going to have a whole hell of a lot of success against them. And Oregon's going to need to figure it out. They're going to need to try. They have an offensive line that I think is capable of winning battles against that Indiana defensive front, but can they win enough to force Indiana to maybe get out of just pinning its ears back and coming after your ass?
Early spread is what? 3.5 now, open 4.5, got knocked down some. I think the total tells the tale here, though, 46. Right? I don't think they're expecting Indiana to go score 40, on Oregon. Like what they scored down on Bama, like 30-something, 35,
38.
whatever the final was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're playing one of these low-scoring kind of slobber knocker games, probably comes down to what it came down to in the first game, right? Turnovers. Oregon had that huge pick six go against them that Indiana, certainly earned. I think Tom's right though. Like, can they run the ball a little bit better? Indiana's front is not as good as Texas Tech's. I think their overall defense is better than Tech's. But like that's gonna be huge, man. Like Indiana, they also don't really allow explosive plays, much like Oregon. So it's just probably both sides bottled up quite a bit. Can you find a way to get over the top somehow? Can you find a way to pop a screen? Indiana just like they yield like no quarter, man. It's just so like everything's like they make you earn everything. That's gonna be tough. Dante's gonna have to be super sharp. I would expect Mendoza to be.
It's like you go back to the first meeting. Oregon only rushed for 81 yards on 30 carries, so 2.7 per clip. They had 20 points, but you got to remember 7 of those came on a pick six. They were also only 3 of 14 on third down, but they converted 3 of their 4 fourth downs to keep drives going and able to kind of put points on the board. So there was a whole lot of by the skin of their teeth in that first game, and they still lost by 10 points.
Wasn't that the 5-sack game for Indiana as well?
I think so, but I don't.
I mean,
know.
it was Dante Moore's worst performance of the season.
Yeah,
and that's a credit to Indiana's defense, and also a great spot for Dante Moore to look and think about ways that he can improve off that.
6 sacks, bud. You shortchanged him.
6 sacks.
Also, the fast start for Indiana kind of tilted Oregon's hand in that game in terms of making them have to maybe throw it around a little bit more than they necessarily have against other opponents. Like it kind of felt like they were comfortable with 2-3 yards with some of the runs today, just because, I don't know, they were up 3-0. They still had a lead. Like the game didn't slide away from it quite like they did when Indiana was there. But I'll be looking. We got Decorian Moore back on the field. Wasn't on the field for every single snap, but he got on the field, got a short little pass, took a hit, bounced back up. Had a couple more after that. So good to be able to have an absolute game wrecking talent when he's 100%. How he's feeling, we'll see. But that's another thing that's important in terms of the overall math here. Other things that are going to be coming to mind. I don't think the absence of Stephen Daly really stood out for Indiana against Alabama. Maybe it will. Last thing, I wonder if it was good for Oregon to play Texas Tech as a little warm up. Just
probably.
To be able to learn some things, learn something Saturday. Figure out kind of where you're at and what you need to work on, because this is a real fast turnaround. You're going to be headed home, And then after just a couple days, they'll be going right back across the country again. Miami, Eugene, back to Atlanta. That's going to be another thing to take into consideration. Tough travel situation for the Ducks as they head into that one. For Indiana, I don't know, man. Just keep being you. I don't really have a lot of concerns here.
One thing about that first game, and I'm glad you brought that up, Chip, as far as them getting game scripted out of it.
Yep.
The backs were 16 carries for 103. Like Dante, I mean, it was 35 yards lost in sacks. So if the game doesn't get away from them early, maybe Oregon has more confidence that they can run the football on Indiana. Although I guess the counter to that is, hey, when they're up that big, Indiana's a little more permissive in terms of allowing the runs.
Or if I'm going to go back and chart the sacks, which I guess I will do. I mean, there's only 4 teams left in the damn sport, right. So might as well. But to go back and chart it, how many of those sacks came on 3rd and long because they couldn't get anything done on 1st and 2nd down?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah. So that game, of course, will be in the Peach Bowl